found an idol! 5 minutes into the game.
Force all of us to play the game of Survivor straight away.
Hang on a second. Is there normally a grace period? Australian Survivor Brawn vs Brawn 2 is coming soon. If I've timed this video right, I'll actually be in Australia attending a premiere party later this week. And I've got some hopes for the upcoming season. Australian Survivor and I have a weird relationship. They make some of the greatest seasons of Survivor I've ever seen, while making some of the most baffling choices. Today I'm going through some of my hopes for the newest season of Australian Survivor, based on what has, and certainly hasn't, worked in the past. We'll also compare each of these points to US Survivor, and talk about which version I think is doing it better. Let's get into it. Alright, let's start off with the biggest one. I'm begging you. Spread the edit across more than like 4 contestants. Please. Did you know that in Australian Survivor Titans vs Rebels, 4 castaways combined had 60% of the confessionals? Those 4 being Ferris, Caroline, Mark, and Kirby? There are 24 people on a season of Australian Survivor. I get that those were the 4 biggest characters, but there are other people who deserve some love. You all know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm not saying that every castaway should have a ton of confessionals. Valeria and Alex were probably about right for where they ended up and what they brought to the season, and I'm not going to pretend I desperately needed to hear more from Garrick. But did you remember there was a player called Charlie last season? Someone tell me one fun fact about Charlie, I will happily wait. It feels weird to say now, but ever since US Survivor has switched to 90-minute episodes, it's made me look at Australian Survivor's editing style a bit more critically. Because if there's one thing US Survivor has, it's bloat. It's bloated to the brim, with each episode seemingly stacking on a journey, or a twist, or a loser vote, anything to take attention away from the players. And I personally feel that Australian Survivor doesn't have as much bloat. They have 24 90-minute episodes to fill. It should not be hard to give everyone at least a little bit of content. And yet season after season they managed to leave a few people completely out of the story. I will quickly point at the Titans vs Rebels as my favourite season of 2024 shaped elephant in the room, and the other elephant in the room that says a character should only receive content if the content serves to make the story better. Man, how'd I get 2 elephants in this room? Those are both valid points, and editing is a difficult job, so maybe I should just let them do it, but I'm hoping for a few more fleshed out characters to root for. Another thing I'm hoping for is the return of some old twists. I think Australian Survivor has a weird tendency to use a twist once and then get rid of it if it fizzled out. US Survivor is a bit too kind to their twists. Redemption Island, let's try it 3 times. Edge of Extinction, we'll give it a couple goes round. Mergatory, hey, you know, maybe 6 times the charm. Medallion of Power, no. Bad twist. Only once. I can't believe this is where they drew the line. But Australian Survivor has some twists in the backlog I'd love to see return, just like how I'd love to see you return for the next video by subscribing. Bring back the Moral Dilemma from 2017, that was fun. It adds a great question, weighing up selfishness in the game to get you and your allies ahead, up against being a stand-up person and hopefully currying some favour through those avenues. They should definitely bring back the hidden immunity idol from the original Brawn vs Brawn season. I'm super surprised that was shelved immediately. It's possibly because Kara could not sell that at all. Kara, you're telling me you're an empath, but you couldn't feel you were going to be saved that night? Furthermore, you're a real estate agent who can't lie? That's insane. Also, considering they're contractually obligated to do a certain number of non-elimination episodes per season thanks to the network requiring them to meet a minimum number of episodes, they might as well bring back the Saboteur. It was pretty non-intrusive, and it added layers to the game. The more I think about it, the more Australian Survivor has been cooking with their twists lately. Why do we used to clown on them so much? Oh right, it's because the original Brawn vs Brawn was filled with so many winners like the save scroll. What a twist, smashing urns at every tribal council until you randomly get the save scroll. Masterful television. Can't believe US Survivor didn't adopt the save scroll twist. Wait a second. I might as well mention a few other twists I think we're safe to leave behind. Redemption Rock, anyone? Funniest name in existence, it took me 4 takes to say it without laughing, but probably not worth bringing back. Same with the 3 people win immunity and then make fire, and then the person who makes fire the fastest gets to choose who gets voted out twist. Probably could leave that. And you know what, at some point I need to do an entire breakdown just on the ultimate vote twist. It produced the funniest episode in Survivor history, easily my favourite episode of 2024, maybe even of all time, honestly. Just look at him, he's acting so pathetic, I love it. But it also raises a bunch of legitimate questions about how far you should go in the name of tricking other players. And being on the same season as Scott makes me think it's probably in their best interest to leave it behind. Besides, literally nothing could top this. They did it once, they created peak television, it's time to move on. Let Raymond have his one thing. I'm also hopeful they can keep up the awesome challenges in the show. Australian Survivor has a tendency to go hard when it comes to challenges. You get a lot of physicality out of them, something you definitely do not get on US Survivor. Part of that is because they cast so many physically fit people. Just look at the cast of Titans vs Rebels. Compare them to the cast of Survivor 47. I'm sorry, if Andy and Jaden got into a fight, I think Andy would just perish. This lets Australian Survivor go way harder with their challenges, but it is a double-edged sword. On a season that's meant to be a battle of wits versus strength, having a bunch of challenges that solely depend on strength is certainly a decision that production has made in the past, that's for sure. There's already enough reasons to vote out those that are typically perceived as weak early on. It would be appreciated if we could avoid that by mixing up the challenges. I feel like such a contrarian asking for more equalizers. Oh man, US Survivor has too many puzzles. Oh man, Australian Survivor doesn't have enough puzzles. I'm pretty sure no one hates Survivor more than fans of Survivor. But continuing to speak on challenges, Australian Survivor isn't afraid of a good endurance challenge, and they look very pretty. Every final immunity challenge in Australian Survivor is jaw-dropping to look at, and I'm certain this will hold in the upcoming season as well. I'll round out my last hope by talking about the general casting and theme of this latest season. Brawn vs Brawn 2, huh? So last time the Brawn tribe included a real estate agent who said she was an empath.
I'm an empath.
A survival expert. Yes, that was his job title.
I'm a wildlife and survival expert.
And an ex-pro cyclist. I'm sorry, what?
I've won 50 professional races, and when I was 23 I won the green jersey in the Tour de France.
Every single time I think of Baden, I laugh. They put the Tour de France cyclist on the Brawn tribe. That is simply the funniest thing imaginable in my eye. I'm just imagining production going, oh man, I've got a professional cyclist and a cleaner. Shit, what tribe should I put each one on? To be fair, US Survivor is no better. Half of the favourites in Fans vs Favourites 2 were in fact not favourites. Half of the fans in Fans vs Favourites 1 and 2 were not fans. Candace was on the Heroes tribe. What's this? The award for most original joke? You shouldn't have. I wrote that last point before the cast reveal. The cast has now been revealed. Let's just say I'm interested. I'm interested in Ali, the AI expert. Curious to see what that means. Jesse is a pro skater. If they don't use Superman by Goldfinger as his intro music, then the season is an immediate 0 out of 10 for me. One of the Lauras is a witch. I am desperately hoping she isn't one note about it. Overall, I think the cast divisions make sense. No one like Baden last time that made me really hit the thinking emoji for the next 4 years of my life. I hope they make a great season of Survivor. And really, that's the only hope I have that matters. I hope I'm just blown out of the water. I kinda want all of these hopes to blow up in my face. I don't often feel surprised by US Survivor. I'm entertained, Operation Italy was great, but Australian Survivor constantly pull things out that I'm not expecting, and I'm looking forward to another season of players and production doing whatever the hell they want. Don't hold back. What do you think? Are you excited for Australian Survivor Brawn vs Brawn 2? Do you want more videos about Australian Survivor in general? Let me know. Sorry for the shorter episode, I submit my PhD at the end of February, so we're really getting into it now. Until next time, I've been Henry Hickman Survivor, and I'll see you probably on the Brawn tribe if we're being honest.